today's class, we will see about equivalent ratios. As in previous class, we saw about ratios, and that ratios can be expressed in terms of fractions, percentages, or even decimals. So today, equivalent ratios can also be expressed in equivalent fractions. So fractions that may have a different numerator and a different denominator but express a same value, then it is called as equivalent fractions. So we'll see with the diagrammatic expression. So let's see with the diagrammatic explanation. Consider a square and divide it into two parts. So which means it is equal to two parts, which is written in the denominator, and when we shade one part, it means 1 out of 2 is being shaded. So it is written in the form of fraction as 1 divided by 2. See in the next diagram. We divide into 4 parts. So that is written as 4 in the denominator, and when we shade 2 parts, it means 2 out of 4 parts is shaded. So in the fraction form, it is written as 2 divided by 4. In the next diagram, we divide the square into 3 parts and then into a 6. So when we shade 3 parts, it is written as 6 parts in the denominator, out of which 3 are shaded. So in the fraction form, it is 3 divided by 6. In the next, we are dividing into 8 parts. So in 8 parts, it is written as 8 in the denominator and shading 4 parts will be written in the numerator. So it's 4 divided by 8. So now take all the fractions alone. 1 divided by 2 equal to 2 divided by 4 equal to 3 divided by 6 and 4 divided by 8. Look at the first fraction. It cannot be simplified further, so it is kept as it is. Go to the next one. We have 2 divided by 4. So 2 divided by 4 can be simplified further to 1 divided by 2. And take 3 divided by 6. It can also be simplified further to 1 divided by 2. And 4 divided by 8 is also simplified to 1 divided by 2. So now look at all the answers. All the 4 answers are 1 divided by 2, which means 1 divided by 2 is a fraction, is in the form of a fraction, and that fraction can be written in the form of ratio as 1:2. Hence, when all the answers are equal, it is called as equivalent ratios. So now let's find out whether two ratios given as 5:10 and 14:28 are equivalent. So they're asking us to find out whether these two ratios are equivalent or not. So 5:10 is in the ratio form that can be rewritten in the fraction form as 5 divided by 10. The fraction form is 5 divided by 10, and 14:28 is written as 14 divided by 28. So to find out whether these two fractions are equivalent or not, we have two methods. The first method is the simple cancellation method. And the next method is cross multiplication method. In simple cancellation method, we take both the fractions, that is 5 by 10 and 14 by 28, and we look for the simplification form. So 5 by 10 is simplified further to 1 divided by 2, and 14 by 28 is also simplified further to 1 divided by 2. So both the answers are 1 divided by 2. 1 divided by 2 is in fraction form, which can be written in the ratio form as 1:2. Since both the answers are 1:2, it is said to be equivalent. Hence, both the ratios are equivalent. So this is the simple cancellation method. The other method is the cross multiplication method. So here, we take both the fractions, that is 5 by 10 and 14 by 28, and we cross multiply. That is, 5 is multiplied with 28 and 14 is multiplied with 10. So 5 into 28 will give us 140. Similarly, 14 into 10 also gives 140. Hence, both the answers are same. Hence, both the fractions are said to be equivalent, since both the answers are coming same. So hence ratios are equivalent. So let's see another example to find out whether the given ratios are equivalent or not. 17:210 and 5:30. So we are rewriting the ratios in the form of fractions. So 17 divided by 210 and 5:30 is written as 5 divided by 30. So now, to find out whether both the ratios are equivalent or not, we go for the cross multiplication method. So we write 17 divided by 210 and 5 divided by 30. So cross multiplying 17 into 30 will give us an answer 510, and then cross multiplying 5 with 210, we'll be getting 1050. So both the answers are different. Hence, it is said to be the ratios are not equivalent. So the next topic is about proportion. So proportion is of two types: direct proportion and indirect proportion. So let's see with an example. Consider a person A buys 4 pencils for $8 and person B buys 8 pencils for $16. So now we can write pencils and cost. So the pencils, 4 pencils cost is $8 and 8 pencils cost is $16. So to find out whether they are in proportion or not, we go for the cross multiplication method. Hence, 4 divided by 8, that is equal to 8 divided by 16. So 4 divided by 8 can be simplified to 1 divided by 2. And 8 divided by 16 can also be simplified to 1 divided by 2. Hence, both the answers are 1 divided by 2. It is clearly known that the ratios are in equivalent. So when two ratios are in equivalent, then it is said to be in proportion. So the next one we'll see about direct proportion. So we have 4 pencils, which is $8, and 8 pencils, which is $16. It clearly shows that when the amount of the pencils increases, the amount also increases. That is, when the quantity increases, the cost also increases. So when one term is increasing along with the other term, but both the terms are equal, then it is said to be direct proportion. So the last topic is about rate. So a rate is a proportion that involves 2 units. So look at the first example. The length is 20 centimeter, the breadth is 12 centimeter, and the length is 60 centimeter and 36 centimeter of breadth. So where the unit of all values is only centimeter, so we have only 1 unit. Whereas in the second example, we have distance and time. So we have kilometer and minutes. So we have kilometer, which is 1 unit, which gives distance, and minutes, which represents time. So we have kilometer and minutes as 2 units. So rate is a proportion that involves 2 units. So example 2 is said to be a rate. In today's class, we saw about equivalent fractions, equivalent ratios, and under proportion, we saw direct proportion. The important point to remember in proportion is if 2 ratios are equivalent, then it is said to be in proportion. And the last topic was about rate, and rate includes 2 units.